Skill 2 and a very good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 13th of August 2024. We'd like to extend a great welcome to all new viewers to this channel. MSBS is very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popularly known as Phra Goh, to conduct this weekly session. So in conjunction of the 7th month of the Chinese calendar, we are starting on the subject of what is hell. So Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking our 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now let's compose our minds, put our palms together and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence. Okay, so we start off with paying respects to the Buddha by giving 3 bows. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, start off the opening chant, homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. 5 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so a very good evening to one and all. Like Terence have introduced, we are talking about the hell this evening. It might be a series of talks actually requested by Susan. We did shared a topic about rebirth and the different destinations of rebirth before, I think last year, under the topic of karma and magga. Yeah, so this is more like an expansion, a bit more like a repetition on samsara, but it's an expanded version basically to introduce the spectrums of hell or the different ranges of the different planes of existence. So we start off with hell, then we slowly go up to the heavens. Yeah, so now we start with hell. Somehow it sort of synchronizes with the so-called Chinese the so-called 7-month ghost festival. So the Chinese folk believe that the hell will open up and so-called the denizens will have like free pass, free travel for a month before they return. Of course, this is not in the mainstream religions. It's part of the folk religious beliefs in China. So let's give a Buddhist perspective on hell. Okay, next. So I'm going to first introduce this particular scripture called Kokalika Sutta. Right, so it talks about this, a summary is just about this person. He criticizes certain saint or certain saints, and because of that bad karma, he gets to reborn in a certain plane of hell. So the Buddha will kind of like give a description on how many levels of hell are there and what's the duration, what's the lifespan. Okay, so I just read through and see what I can comment along the way. Then the mendicant means a monk, Kokalika, went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to him, Sir, Sariputta and Moggallana have corrupt wishes. They have fallen under the sway of corrupt wishes. Okay. So you can see here, probably this monk, Kokalika, have personal dislike towards Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana. So these two are the two chief disciples of the Buddha, the left hand and the right hand man disciples of the Buddha. And it's not like this Venerable Kokalika doesn't know. The Buddha always announced openly that these are the two chief disciples. If the students have any issues, the Buddha will also refer the new monks to Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana, because not all the time the Buddha is free to give teaching. Sometimes the Buddha travel. There are some of these chief disciples at different places, so they are being referred or recommended by the Buddha to approach and learn the Dhamma. So despite knowing, this Kokalika also has had this bad impression of this Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana. So both of them are arahants. That means they are enlightened beings, free from corrupt wishes. But this Kokalika accused Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana for having corrupt wishes. So basically, it's a kind of slandering, or maybe it's a kind of wrong view or slandering. Probably this Venerable Kokalika is one of the initial disciples of Venerable Devadatta. And last time, this Venerable Devadatta caused a schism in the Sangha. He split the Sangha. So he kind of persuaded quite a number of monks, a lot of monks, 500 monks, to win them over to his side. So Venerable Devadatta had a large group of following. And eventually, this Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana managed to pull most of the monks back, went to talk to those monks and win them back over, right? So somehow this Kokalika still not convinced that Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana are pure, but somehow he has faith in the Buddha, so he still bowed to the Buddha and spoke his opinion. So this is the Buddha's reply. Don't say that, Kokalika. Don't say that, Kokalika. Have confidence in Sariputta and Moggallana. They are good monks. So despite the Buddha saying that this Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana are good, this Kokalika still not convinced. For a second time, Kokalika said to the Buddha, despite my faith and trust in the Buddha, Sariputta and Moggallana have corrupt wishes. They've fallen under the sway of corrupt wishes. Then the Buddha said the same thing. Don't say that, Kokalika. No, they are good monks. And for the third time, this Kokalika still insists that this Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana are corrupt monks. So the Buddha also for the third time replied, don't say that. Okay, next slide. That means this Kokalika doesn't have full faith in the Buddha. What even the Buddha mentioned up to 3 times, he still don't believe what the Buddha said. Then Kokalika got up from his seat, bowed and respectfully circled the Buddha, keeping him on his right. Before leaving, not long after he left, his body erupted with boils and boils the size of mustard seeds. So the body grow a lot of these like a pus or like giant pimples and pus. The boils grew to the size of mung beans, then chickpeas, then jujube seeds, and then jujubes, then and so on. So that means it gets bigger and bigger. Then unripe wood apples, then ripe wood apples. So from a seed grow into like a size of apple, and the boils. So become giant pus and boil. Finally, they burst open, and pus and blood oozed out. He just laid down on banana leaves like a poisoned fish. Right, so he has lots of these boils around the body. May or may not be related to his accusation, because sometimes we believe having this kind of slandering and aversion towards holy beings might create certain negative karma. Yeah? Okay, next. Then Tudu, the independent Brahma, went to Kokalika. So in Buddhism, there are many Brahmas. So there's this Brahma by the name of Tudu, went to this Kokalika, the sick and dying monk, and standing in the sky, he said to him, Kokalika, have confidence in Sariputta and Moggallana. They are good monks. So this Kokalika is like, who is this fellow in the sky? So I asked, who are you, Reverend? Then this deity replied, I am Tudu, the independent Brahma. Then this monk, still very defiant, so he answered, didn't the Buddha declare you a non-returner? Right? So being a non-returner, that means he's from the pure abodes. It's a very high plane in heaven. So we'll talk more on that in future lessons. So what exactly are you doing back here? See how far you have strayed. So some people believe non-returners shouldn't come back. Well, why you come? Why you come to the earth, this human realm for what? Right? Then to address Kokalika in verse. So it shows how disrespectful is this Kokalika. A person is born with an axe in their mouth. A fool cuts themselves with it when they say bad words. When you praise someone worthy of criticism or criticize someone worthy of praise, you choose bad luck with your own mouth. You'll never find happiness that way. So this is a very interesting point on how to avoid creating bad speech, bad verbal karma. So the second point he mentioned, when you praise someone worthy of criticism, when somebody do wrong and you praise them, and then that is also creating bad karma. When they do unwholesome thing, then you praise them. And vice versa. You criticize someone doing good. When somebody do something wholesome, then you criticize. Then that is also creating this your own bad karma. But down here they mention bad luck. Right? So because since we do not know how karma operates, it's a bit like luck. Yeah. Okay. Next. Bad luck and dice is a trivial thing. If all you lose is your money and all you own, even yourself, what's really terrible luck is to hate the holy ones. So this Brahma mentioned, you can gamble your material things away, all the material things, even your own so-called freedom away, but worse still is to create this bad karma of having aversion to holy people. or more than 2 quinquadecillion years. I have no idea how large is this amount. So if you know, can let me know how many digits. And another 5 quattuordecillion years. I have no idea also. A slenderer of noble ones goes to hell. So basically, it's a long, long, long time. Huh? Having aimed bad words and thoughts at them. So if a person have aversion, anger, angry mind, and having bad speech to holy people, then that is actually creating lots of this bad karma, bad luck. And destination is mentioned here in hell. Eh? One goes to hell. So how do you know who is holy or not holy? We won't know, right? So the best is if you do not know, just keep quiet. That's the safest, how do you call it, kind of bet. But of course, there are some things you see that is you find unwholesome. To play safe, the first thing is to clarify. You're not sure whether the person do is unwholesome. Sometimes it's our own misunderstanding or our own perspective. You know, sometimes once we clarify, we get the angle, then maybe it makes more sense. Right? So the first thing is to clarify the person. Why do you do such and such an act or such and such a speech that seem blameworthy? So once they are able to clarify, they're able to justify their points, then you may not end up criticizing. But if their explanation is still unjustifiable, let's say the person kills or steals in a very, very and harms lots of people, then that will definitely is blameworthy. Okay, next. Then the mendicant Kokalika died of that illness. So the boils caused him to die, infection and whatever, he died. He was born in the pink lotus hell because of his resentment for Sariputta and Moggallana. Right, so I first heard the term from Susan. Last time she mentioned in one of her Buddhist classes somewhere else, some other Dhamma teacher mentioned to her, oh, there's a pink lotus hell, this lotus hell, that lotus hell. At first I thought it sounds like heaven, lotus, that sounds like heaven. Actually, it's a name of a hell realm. So yeah, so I managed to find this sutta. So there is such a hell called the pink lotus hell. So later on, the Buddha will kind of give a description. Then late at night, the beautiful Brahma Sampati, also another being in the pure abode. And this Brahma Sampati is the one that invited the Buddha to teach the Dhamma. Lighting up the entire Jeta's grove, went up to the Buddha, bowed, stood to one side, and said to him, Sir, the mendicant Kokalika has passed away. He was reborn in the pink lotus hell because of the resentment of Sariputta and Moggallana. So sometimes the deities will give reports to the Buddha, right? And the Buddha also, after hearing the reports, not all the reports the Buddha will believe immediately. The Buddha will also double check. The Buddha also has his own ability, the divine eye or the Buddha eye. So the Buddha will also scan and double check. That's what Brahma Sampati said. Then he bowed and respectfully circled the Buddha, keeping him on his right side before vanishing right there. So the Brahma Sampati just came down, made a report, and disappeared. Okay, next. Then, when the night had passed, the Buddha told the mendicants all that had happened. So the rest of the monks gathered, and the Buddha kind of shared this report to the rest of the monks, probably to teach the monks this important point, not to slander or falsely accuse other monks, basically. When he said this, one of the mendicants asked the Buddha, Sir, how long is the lifespan in the pink lotus hell? So where is this hell exactly, and how long is that lifespan? Basically, how long will this Kokalika spend in that hell realm? It's long, mendicant. It's not easy to calculate how many years, how many hundreds of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years it lasts. So wow, that's a long number, huh? Hundreds and thousands and many hundreds and thousands. Earlier on, this Tudu Brahma, right, mentioned what very I can't even pronounce the word, many quadrillion or whatever years, more than a million basically. But sir, is it possible to give a simile? It's possible, said the Buddha. So the Buddha is trying to give a metaphor, an analogy to kind of describe how long is that hell realm. Okay, next. Suppose there was a Kosalan cartload of 20 bushels of sesame seed. So basically, one cartload, 20 bags, yeah? 20 bags of sesame seed. And at the end of every 100 years, someone would remove a single seed from it. By this means, the Kosalan cartload of 20 bushels of sesame seed would run out faster than a single lifetime in the Abuddha hell. So there's a realm in hell called Abuddha hell. So this is probably like one of the first layers and the um, shortest level, one of the shortest level called the Abuddha hell. So that's the lifespan of one cartload of seeds, and that lifespan is basically every 100 years, one seed is being removed. So by the time they remove all the seeds from the cartload, right? That means many, many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years you remove each seed, still not yet the lifetime of this Abuddha hell. So that's the first layer. Then one floor below of this Abuddha hell, now 20 lifetimes in the Abuddha hell equal one lifetime in the Nira Buddha hell. So there's another level called the Nira Buddha hell, 20 times of this, the first level. Then the next one, 20 lifetimes in the Nira Buddha hell equal to one lifetime in the Ababa hell. So there's another hell called Ababa hell. Then 20 lifetimes in the Ababa hell equal one lifetime in the Atata hell. And 20 lifetimes in the Atata hell equal one lifetime in the Ahaha hell. Nothing funny, your haha. Very long lifetime. Okay, next. Okay, then 20 lifetimes in the Ahaha hell equal one lifetime in the yellow lotus hell. So now you see all the lotus and the flowery names come out already. So these lotuses is not the heavenly name, it's actually the name of the hell. So in the Theravada scriptures, not much being mentioned, but in the Mahayana scriptures, they mention these levels belong to the cold hells. So hell have a hot and cold division. So all these mentioned is the cold segment. The cold segment. So they believe that when it's so cold and the skin kind of split open because of the coldness, it produces that color. So when it's cracked open, it split, looks like lotus. When the eye shards are formed, it looks like lotus. Yeah, so they call it whatever lotus, whatever color. Okay, then 20 lifetimes in the yellow lotus hell equal one lifetime in the sweet smelling hell. So hell also sweet smelling. So I do not know how they describe. 20 lifetimes in the sweet smelling hell equal one lifetime in the blue water lily hell. So they're getting more and more levels. 20 lifetimes in the blue water lily hell equal one lifetime in the white lotus hell. So there's white lotus even. 20 lifetimes in the white lotus hell equal 1 lifetime in the pink lotus hell. So the pink lotus hell somehow is the lowest level mentioned here. The mendicant Gokalika has been reborn in the pink lotus hell because of this resentment for Sariputta and Moggallana. Right, so this is the so-called levels of hell being mentioned in this particular sutta. So if we're to count all these levels, probably different from the Chinese one. Chinese, Singapore and the Hopa Villa, they show you 18 levels of hell. So this one, I do not know how many levels. Maybe it's just a cold level. So if you want to include the hot segment, maybe more, yeah. But somehow I cannot find the hot segment in the Theravada scriptures, so we'll just leave it be. Yeah? So there's also many levels in hell. Okay, next. That is what the Buddha said. Then the Holy One, the teacher, went on to say, a person is born with an axe in their mouth. So basically, repetition of what this Brahma Tudu has mentioned. A fool cuts themselves with it when they say bad words. When you praise someone worthy of criticism or criticize someone worthy of praise, you choose bad luck with your own mouth. You'll never find happiness that way. Next slide. Bad luck and dice is a trivial thing if all you lose is your money and all you own, even yourself. What's really terrible luck is to hate the holy ones. For more than 2 quinquadecillion years and another 5 quattuordecillion years, a slanderer of noble ones go to hell, having aimed bad words and thoughts at them. Right, so this is the same speech made by this Brahma Tudu. Next. Okay, let's go to the previous slide. Okay, so this is the end of the first sutta. So the next week, we'll talk about the next sutta on the hell court, about judgment and what's the process or procedure like. Okay, if there are no more issues, then I think we can start. I think most of you are here. So find the comfortable sitting posture. Make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so what we're going to do is there will be a reflection on this impermanence of the body, but before that, first we are going to reflect on all of us, and we'll go through this illness and sickness. We just now read the sutta, and the monk Gokalika, right, have all these boils appearing. Everybody will fall sick. So what we're going to do is first visualize your entire body. So thinking of the body by itself has no Dhamma value. If a person doesn't have any right reflection, you see the body look beautiful, and you have greed. Oh, I like my body, the body is so beautiful. But if you find the body ugly or disgusting, which a lot of Asubha practitioners may end up in that direction, and you have aversion. Yeah, this hairstyle so ugly today, or my skin wrinkle, I don't look young anymore, then you start to have aversion. So how to cultivate the middle path? So we are avoiding these two kinds of extremes. So we first wish the entire body well and happy. Whatever you visualize from head to toe, you wish it well and happy. So make sure you have time to finish the sentence in your mind, and you wish, let's say, the head well and happy, and you move on to the next part of the body, and then you wish it well and happy, then you move on to the next part. So the whole idea is don't stay too long and don't over dramatize, no story making. Just think of that part of the body and then move on to the next one. And the more you generate right thought, you wish that means we have non-anger, we have the Eightfold Path, that's actually the fourth noble truth, and it should eventually lead to the third noble truth, which is the reduction of craving and suffering. So if you find your mind gets calmer, means you're on the right track. If let's say the more you meditate, the more anxious or more worried, then it becomes the first and second noble truth. Suffering and the cause of suffering. So we use the Four Noble Truths as the checklist. Okay, so the mind should be able to calm down to like a certain point. You find it relatively calm, or you cannot calm down any further, then there will be the baseline emotion. It's a neutral state, no jhanic concentration, no insight at this point. And this will be the minimum requirement for any insight reflection. So we can now think that this entire body goes through birth, aging, sickness, death. So you can think of the body growing, getting old, wrinkling, sick, passing away, and cremation. Then born again, new body, aging, sickness, death. So you kind of fast forward a bit, don't have to think any stories, how you go through school, how you go through work, don't have to add all this in. Just think of the birth and death process. And the more you loop this image, mentally keep repeating impermanence or any word or phrase associated with impermanence. You can use rising and falling, birth and death, anicca, change, Just pick your favorite and keep repeating. The more you think of impermanence, there should be initially, let's say, certain joy appearing. That's a sign of detachment. And the more you reflect on impermanence, it should get calmer and more peaceful, more tranquil along the way. So the whole idea is to so-called know your own high score. How deep this peace can you reach? And of course, how long can you maintain it in your daily life, day-to-day activities? So this is another set of Four Noble Truths. If you repeat impermanence, you're practicing the Fourth Noble Truth. It should lead to more detachment. So thinking of impermanence is part of right thoughts and right mindfulness. And once you stop turning the Dhamma wheel, you'll end up the first two Noble Truths. Leads to clinging to other sense objects, such as your stray thoughts, your fantasies, worries, and so on. And if you want more reflection, you can ask yourself, this is this body truly self? Is it truly you? Is the sense of self or the intensity of this sense of self the same in the first place? Is it even real? Okay, then we can now switch to the next phase of meditation. We are now going to stop the visualization and move to feeling of sensation. So we are now familiarizing with the four element sensations, the earth, fire, wind, and water elements. Nothing mystical about them. Earth represents any hard and soft sensations. Fire is the hot and cold sensations. Wind element represents any kind of movement, fast, slow movements. and the water represents any moist or dry sensations. So there's no need to control, do not deliberately generate them, let them appear naturally by themselves. Whatever sensation appear, we make peace with them and we wish them well and happy. So all these are basically real-time evidence. No need to imagine. Whatever sensation appear naturally by themselves, make friends with them, make peace with them, wish them well and happy. So the same thing, the mind should be able to settle down to this baseline neutral emotion, and we're using it as a comparison. So now we're going to wish, may all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across. No need to push the mind, let it extend naturally by itself. However far you wish to extend doesn't matter. And in that widened sphere of attention, we are going to perceive all beings being made of the four elements. So no need to visualize, just using the same sensations. So whatever sensation we detect, we are going to wish all beings well and happy. So we call this the non-discrimination approach. All beings are made of the four elements. So whatever sensation we detect, we are going to wish all beings well and happy. Doesn't matter whether is it inside the body or outside the body, near or far, large area, small area, as long as something appear, may all beings be well and happy. And we keep repeating. So we synchronize every sensation appear, may all beings be well and happy. And if you are consistent with the right thoughts and the repetition, we call it right effort, all the factors are in place, very conducive, one may trigger the right concentration. So if, let's say you experience an increment in a pleasant emotion compared to the neutral baseline, and that would be the indicator of the first level of concentration. So regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing all beings well and happy. That's the emphasis. Treat everything else as a byproduct. And now we add some insight, some wisdom. We are going to reflect on impermanence. Yeah? So we synchronize with the sensations. Instead of the labeling, may all beings be well and happy, we change to impermanence. So we keep repeating the word impermanence or rising and falling. Okay, so if, let's say, the joy and happiness start to disappear, one may experience like a neutral but refreshing kind of experience. So we call that emotion equanimity, normally associated with the fourth level of concentration. So regardless of what you experience, keep on labeling impermanence. Keep treading the middle path, keep turning the Dhamma wheel, and you can travel long enough until your greed and anger is gone. Then that's the criteria for the pure abode. And you might be able to meet the two Brahmas there. And now we can switch to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So for compassion, we use the same non-discrimination method. Any sensation appear, we are going to wish may all beings be free from suffering. Now, all beings are made of the four elements. As long as we cling on to them, and that will result in suffering. So that being said, do not imagine or come up with any stories or scenarios on how to help this or help that person. So that will lead to restlessness and worry and become a hindrance. So we're going to cut down on the story making, just focus on the mindfulness of the body, the sensations. Whatever sensation appear, we just generate the right thought. May all beings be free from suffering, and cut the story making. So in daily life, yes, you can worry all you want. We call this draining the battery. So now we learn to recharge the battery, stop the worrying, come back and recharge the mind. And again, if all the conditions are right, you have the repetitive right thoughts and the right thoughts, right effort, everything, it will trigger the right concentration. So if let's say your concentration can feel joyful, and that will be the indicator of the concentrative kind of compassion, usually the second level of concentration. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing, may all beings be free from suffering. And now we're going to add the insight, some wisdom, and we're going to reflect how to overcome the suffering, which is to learn to let go of clinging aggregates. So we're going to shake off the clinging with impermanence. So the same thing, whatever sensation appear, then we can label impermanence. Okay, let's say the joy start to disappear. Instead of feeling the equanimity from previously, this time round it should feel a bit more blank or more spacious. So normally compassion combined with insight may lead to this perception of infinite space. So regardless of how blank you may experience, keep on labeling impermanence. Do not get lost in space. Okay, before we conclude the session, same gentle reminder in all activities. Standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, we can maintain the sublime states or maintain mindfulness of impermanence. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, and formally still can generate right thought and create good karmas. All right, any problems or questions from anyone? Okay, if there are no issues, then we can do the conclusion chanting. Okay, so this is the dedication. So in Buddhism, in order to help the so-called hungry ghost beings, we after doing any kind of good deed, any wholesome deed, even meditation or chanting, acts of generosity, as long as the mind is joyful or peaceful, then we can dedicate them to the deceased. So this is the chant. Akasata cha pumata devanaga mahidika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasanang etavata cha amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe deva sabe bhuta sabe sata anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Dedication of merits to departed. idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nibbana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So we end off by paying respects, bowing to the Buddha 3 times. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay. Good night and see you all next week.